All right, this is the section 5.1 video for business calculus, and we're talking about, in this chapter, integration and its applications. So we've been studying differentiations and its uses, like taking the derivative. We're now going to do the reverse process, which is anti-differentiation. Every operation in mathematics has an inverse operation. Well, this is the inverse to derivatives. So for a given derivative, this essentially recovers the original function. Anti-differentiation has many uses. So for example, differentiation turns a cost function into a marginal cost function. So anti-differentiation turns that marginal cost back into the cost function. And we're going to look at other purposes for anti-differentiation. We won't cover finding areas in this course, but it is in your book. It's section 5.4. We're actually going to stop at 5.3 for this course. All right, so let's keep going. We're going to begin with a simple example of anti-differentiation. So, the derivative of x squared is 2x. Therefore, the antiderivative of 2x would be x squared. Okay, so an antiderivative of 2x is x squared, since the derivative of x squared is 2x. There are, however, other antiderivatives of 2x. Each of the following is an antiderivative of 2x. X squared plus 1, x squared minus 17, and x squared plus e. Because remember, if you recall, the derivative of the constant is 0. So that goes away, giving us just 2x. So how do we deal with that in antiderivatives? So clearly, we may add any constant to x squared, and the derivative would still be 2x. Therefore, what we do to tackle this and to deal with it is x squared plus c is now the antiderivative of 2x. And that c works for any constant, and it takes the place of what could have been in the problem. All right, so furthermore, it can be shown that there are no other antiderivatives of 2x. And so the most general antiderivative of 2x is x squared plus c. Okay, that's the most general antiderivative. Well, we don't want to keep saying antiderivative, and we need a symbol for it. Okay, so remember with derivatives, cannot spell today. Derivatives, we had the d over dx that we used, or the prime notation. For antiderivatives, what we're going to see is that the most general antiderivative of 2x is called the indefinite integral. Okay, that integral is what we're going to use. And it's written with the 2x between an integral sign and a dx. Okay, so the integral sign, the little loop, and then we put what we're taking the antiderivative of, and we put dx. The dx will change. Okay, it can be dt, dy, d whatever, for whatever variable we're dealing with in the problem. Okay, just like over here on derivatives, that dx could change to whatever variable we're dealing with in the problem. Okay, so the integral, instead of saying antiderivative, we can say the integral of 2x dx is equal to x squared plus c. All right, so the function to be integrated here is 2x. Whatever's in the middle is the function to be integrated. Okay? The dx reminds us that the variable of integration is x, and the constant c, this constant c, is an arbitrary constant, okay? Because it can take any value, positive, negative, or 0. Okay, and that takes into account that we don't know what was in the original function before we took the derivative and canceled out any constants. All right, let's keep going. So, an indefinite integral, sometimes simply called an integral, can be checked by differentiation. The derivative of the answer must equal the integrand. So it's the nice thing about, my favorite thing about algebra is that you can check out all your work. So the nicest thing about integrals is as you're learning them, you can check your answer. It's got to fit. As if we look at, sorry, my brain just stopped. If we look at this definition right here, indefinite integral, the indefinite integral f of x dx is equal to g of x plus c. We're going to get some new function, and then we're adding on to our plus c to take care of any constants that were there. This works if and only if, if and only if g prime of x equals f of x. So as long as you can take the derivative of your answer and get the integrand, that number or the variable, the function inside the integral, okay, you know you have the right answer. Okay. Now, we knew that the integral of 2x was x squared. That's a pretty straightforward answer. But how do I deal with that if I don't know what it is off the top of my head? So here are several rules that simplify integration. So let's talk about some rules. The first, which is the most useful rule in all of calculus, and it shows how to integrate x to a constant power. Right, so recall, I'm going to write this right here, recall that if we took the derivative of x to the n, okay, that was nx to the n minus 1, right? We pulled that power out front, and then we subtracted from the exponent. Well, if we're going to go backwards and we want to end up with the exact same thing that we started with, instead of multiplying by something, we essentially have to divide by something, okay? And then instead of subtracting a variable, we would need to add a variable. We're going the opposite direction. And so what you end up with here is the power rule for integration, that the integral of x to the n dx is equal to 1 over n plus 1. Okay, that's our opposite of that multiplication. And at x to the n plus 1. And then, of course, you always have to have your plus c. All right, and this works as long as n is not negative 1. Because negative 1 plus 1 is 0. And we can't divide by 0. Okay, so this works. Here in words, what this says, to integrate x to a power, add 1 to the power and multiply by 1 over the new power. And this works for any power other than negative 1. And I've got an example here. I'm going to zoom in real quick. The integral of x cubed. So if we take the integral of x cubed dx, I have 1 over 3 plus 1 equals x to the 3 plus 1. And we have plus c, which of course gives us 1/4 x to the 4th plus c. Okay, this, and I don't need that multiplication step there, sorry. This extra step here, you don't necessarily have to have that. If you can do that in your head, you can go straight to the bottom step without it. All right, let's try some examples. All right, so expressing as a power before integrating. That power rule is the easiest rule to use when we're integrating. So if we can get our expression, our function, if we can simplify it down to something raised to a power first, it makes the entire process easier. So on A, I've got the integral of the square root of x dx. I'm going to rewrite that problem so that I have the integral of x to the 1/2 dx. And by doing that, by giving it an expression to a power, it makes it easier to integrate. So the rule is 1 over n plus 1, and then x to the n plus 1 plus c. So n plus 1, I have 1 over 1/2 plus 1 times x to the 1/2 plus 1, and then plus c. All right, and we know how to do this. It's the same as we got really quick at subtracting 1. We're going to get quick at adding 1 as well, especially to fractions. So I have 1 over 3/2 x to the 3/2 plus c. We will not leave our answer in this format. Okay, you have to simplify that complex fraction. And if you can do it in less steps, go for it. That's fine. But we have 2/3 x to the 3/2 plus c. And like we said, we can check every single one of these. Okay? So here's our final answer. If you want to check, take the derivative. If I take the derivative of 2/3 x to the 3/2 plus c, our first step is to multiply our power to our constant. And you see that 2 over 3 times 3 over 2 does give me 1. So I have 1x to the 1/2 power, because 3 over 2 minus 1 is 1/2. And the derivative of c is 0. This gave me what I started with. Therefore, I know I did it correctly. So you can check every single one of these. All right, the rule on the next one, or the step that we want to do on the next one, I have the integral of 1 over x squared dx. So what we do here is I'm going to move the denominator up, giving me the integral of x to the -2 dx. And then we're going to follow the exact same rules. Okay, so I have 1 over -2 plus 1 times x to the -2 plus 1, and then plus c. -2 plus 1 is -1, so we get -x to the -1 plus c. You can leave your answer right here, that's fine. You could also rewrite it as -1 over x plus c. Both answers would be fine. Okay. All right, the last one that we have here in this grouping is the integral of 1 dx. All right, 1 is the same thing as 1 times x to the 0. Okay? And if we follow the rules, the power rules, just like we had, I have the integral of 1 over 0 plus 1 times x to the 0 plus 1, which ends up giving us, dx, which ends up giving us 1 x to the first power plus c, or just x plus c. That integral happens so often, the integral of a constant, that it's a rule that you want to keep and memorize. So we have a little yellow box here. The integral of 1 dx is always x plus c. All right, we're going to continue this section in the next video.